everyone. Welcome to TV Talk with Natasha and Kim. I am Kimberly. That is Natasha. Say hi, Natasha.
Hi.
And today we have a special guest. You will remember her from when we first started talking about Helix. Michelle. Michelle, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, guys, so this is going to be our wrap up of Helix, the first season from the sci-fi show. So, guys, what did you think about? Well, let's talk about the last episode first. I was like, what? Because when it first popped up, it said, what, day 235, I believe?
35. Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Wait, wasn't it just day 12? And I got all kinds of confused. But they did go back to day 13. Ooh, lucky number 13. And a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened. So I don't know, like, looks like Sarah is going to be around forever, Natasha. And that's all on you.
That really sucks. She just I knew she was going to get pregnant. Like, it wasn't even a question, but at the same time, I just want her gone. Like, if she makes like one or two appearances, then maybe I'll be fine with it. But for right now, I just want to focus on Julia, Alan, and Peter. And I want to make sure that Belisarios is alive, as well as Ananan and Tulak, because that's the only time that we're going to see Megan Fairbrother, and I want to see him again in season 2.
Michelle, just in case, if you didn't know, Sarah is Natasha's favorite person on the show.
Yeah.
No, but I have a question about that because when it blew up, we didn't see her.
Oh, she was on the ground. We just didn't know if she was dead or if she was just unconscious.
So I'm thinking she died, and I was thinking that's messed up. They killed her when she finds out she's pregnant.
Well, if she died, then everybody in there died.
Yeah, and I don't want that. If it means that Sarah's alive, then that means that other people could be alive, and I could.
Because I don't know, from the way I watched it, it looked like everybody couldn't get away fast enough when he said run.
Well, no, and the explosion, I think a lot of the fire was up in the air, and it looked like it covered them, but I don't know if it actually burned them up. Like, it just seemed like a lot of people were unconscious. I mean, because Julia's mom actually got up, and she was, like, partially burnt, and she still managed to get up and walk towards Spencer and then get killed. So, yeah.
You know what bothered me is that they cut off Julia's finger. Now, if you get a finger in a package, and it was a room full of doctors, mind you, it's like, why wouldn't you put it on ice so you could put that thing back on? Like, a room full of doctors, you see a finger, you know it's your friend's finger, you know it was recently cut off, put it on ice.
When were they going to have time to actually sew it back on?
Whenever they got her back. I mean,
so how long are they supposed to keep it on ice? I think there's only a limited amount of time they can keep it on ice before she loses the finger anyway.
There was a freezer down there in that little...
but then it got blew up. Like, what?
Yeah, but they didn't know that was going to happen. I'm like, this is a room full of doctors. A room full of doctors. And why am I the only person thinking about
that? That was not their main concern.
I think because they had other things on their mind.
Never.
They had other things on their
everybody.
mind.
I'd have been mad at everybody.
Silver-eyed people.
I'd have been like, you guys could have saved my finger. And now she's got to...
She didn't even think about it. She's a doctor, and she didn't even think about that.
True.
I was waiting for it to grow back. I thought something weird was going to happen. I was like, make it grow back or something like that. But she's got a silver finger now, and my goodness, what is his name, that little boy? I call him a little boy, but he's probably
Spencer.
Like 20 years old or something like that. I just want to...
Spencer.
Just want to...
Punch him in the face?
Yes! Not slap him around, but what, was it not Peter? Gosh, Alan. My brain is so like foggy right now. What he did at the end, that was kind of cold. It was kind of cold. I know it like worked, but it was kind of cold throwing her head up there, like. Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't mind. I know it was cold, but at the same time, I'm just like, you cut off Julia's finger and you killed Misa. So you know what?
Yeah, you're bitter about that too.
I'm still bitter.
Well, I'm gonna stop watching when I saw that she died because that was the reason.
I thought you were. I was like, oh, Michelle's not gonna be
Watching
happy.
the show, and I was like, okay, I like the show, and I'm intrigued. I was like, they didn't have to kill her. I wanted her to continue to be a bad guy. I like
I
good bad
I
guy.
I think that's like what shows are doing now. They're just killing off characters that you think could be main characters, so you know nobody's safe. It seems like the trend ever since Lost, um, to do that. And so,
Well,
I
the
mean,
following did that a lot within like the first 5 episodes. You thought that at least some of these people were going to survive at least through season 1, and they died like the second or third episode.
yeah, I think Lost was the first show to do that, and then ever since then, people have been doing that.
True. It seems like no one's safe these days, and it's a little bit creepy and scary. And now you don't know what to think anymore, and you can't. It's like you can't become attached to some of these characters. Like Dr. Boyle, I was already on her corner, and then Belisario killed her, and I was very upset about that too. In fact, I'm still bitter, and I will always be bitter about that.
Oh, wait, I have no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah,
Dr. Boyle.
Dr. Boyle, blonde hair, was really funny.
Oh yeah, okay. She said the name so fast. I'm like, is this another show? Wait, what?
Bitter,
No.
really mad
Yeah.
about it. She wanted
And
Sarah.
Sarah's
bad.
still alive, and so now Misa like blew his head off because he didn't want his dad to choose between him and Julia because he knew he was going to choose Julia. Like if he had just waited a few more minutes, he would have been alive, and Nana would not have been crying that her brother's dead that she just reunited with earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So it's in Sergio when he said he
Bitter.
Yeah, I can
when
see.
Sergio said he didn't work for Alara, I'm like, well, who do you work for? Because he
The
said,
government. The U.S. government. Who else?
does he? He does things that you would think that the government wouldn't sanction, but whatever. I mean, why would he kill Dr. Boyle then? Like, why?
Because she was starting to figure out too much stuff. That's why he killed her. In fact, later on, Alan and Sarah figured out what she had figured out early on before she died. Like how the virus was spreading and what the heck it seemed like it was doing and with the vectors. Oh my goodness, the vectors became like really smart later on in the season, and now Julia created this cure, and now Ilaria has already spread the black, black liquid virus. I can't remember what they were calling it on the show, but now it's out in the world. And specifically, I think it was like Puerto Rico.
I thought it was it Puerto Rico?
Was it Puerto Rico?
And isn't it called Narvik? Was it the A one where it didn't turn them into vectors?
It may have been Narvik A, which was easily cured.
Yeah, they didn't turn them into vectors. It just killed people. They called it the Black Blood.
The Black Blood. There we go. And it was called something with black in it. Yeah, so this last episode, and can we just talk a little bit about Belisario just because all he wanted to go, he was still in the snow. He barely made it. Everyone keeps on finding him and beating him up. And it's mostly women that are finding him and beating him up. Although Misa did it like early on a little bit, but at the same time, it's like everyone that finds him slaps him, punches him, something. And he seems to sleep around as well, although I think he really has feelings for Nanan. Hopefully they are alive next season.
You can tell she really likes
I've almost forgiven Belisarios. Almost.
Almost forgiven him, huh?
Almost forgiven him. Yeah.
You want to forgive him because he has pretty eyes. But it looks like he's going to be around. I mean, I don't know what to think about what's coming up with him and with everybody else because the way that they ended it, you have no idea if it's going to come back, with day 14 or day 236. Like they just kind of left it open, and Peter, my gosh, Peter, what the heck?
And yeah, is he still working for is how you say it?
Ilaria.
And did Alan ever find out?
I don't know if he would have forgiven him by the time they reached day 235. Like, I don't know.
And with Julia, she's the head of it now. So is she still working with them? And did he really find her when he said he found her?
I think he did, because she started talking a totally different language. Like, how the heck did you learn that language as fast as you did? And I think she's like part of like the head of that division in wherever they're at. I don't even know where they're at.
France.
France? Okay. Yeah, I think they're like in France, and so yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know that he knows about Peter because he was talking to him.
But that was day 235. Like I'm saying, he could have found out
in between.
And eventually forgiven him, because they're both trying to find Julia. Their goal was to find Julia, because she was like, at the very end, find me. So he must have gotten over it. I mean, Peter seemed like he was loyal. He was trying to be loyal to Ilaria, not... I don't know if he really realized what he was doing by giving them Narvik A. And then he got infected himself, so it's kind of like... I'm thinking he's a little bit bitter, but then again, why would he let Spencer go if that was the case?
I don't know, and I have a feeling what we're going to see for the season 2 is in the beginning we might see day 236 for a second, and then it's going to go back to day 14. And I feel like what they're doing is showing us the end result, and they're leaving this self open for an incredible backstory where they can go back a bunch of days. There's only 13 days in this season. You know? So.
And they're probably going to go 13 seasons again. Not 13 seasons, but 13 episodes. I mean, short and sweet seems to be the way to go, as far, especially with some of these storylines, because then it drags out, and you don't want it to drag out.
Right. It was an interesting approach that they took there. So they left themselves open for a couple different ways to approach season 2.
Yeah. Again, one way would be to go back to at least day 14, day 15, day 16, and then move forward with day 236 and beyond. Like, they could do like halfway kind of a thing, just to at least give you an idea what happened immediately after, like who's really alive, and then go forward from there.
I bet they do a lot of like flashbacks.
Like Lost.
Yeah, exactly like Lost, where you see some real time, but then you see a lot of like time in the past and stuff like that.
Well, Once Upon a Time does that too.
Just so if Natasha can see if Julia is alive and well. And
you mean Sarah?
Oh, Sarah. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and she has a baby, and the baby's got like silver eyes and.
That's actually a good point. Like, if she manages to give birth to an immortal baby, then I could be down with that, but at the same time, I just don't like her.
I know. And then Alan's gonna feel all obligated. And it's just gonna put a bad taste in Natasha's mouth.
It's already a bad taste in my mouth. Like, they shouldn't have slept together in the first. No, like, and I think it's not going to help with Peter and his loyalties. The fact that Julia and Alan are, I guess, trying to get back together, or at least they were trying to get back together at the end of the episode. And he was looking, and he had like this mean face on his. You know, he was like, I'm not feeling that.
Yeah, it is. It's quite a conundrum there. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's so weird because they're brothers, you know.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know who I want her with anyway. It's kind of weird. Like, part of me wants her with Alan, and a part of me wants her with Peter. Because it seems like Peter seems to live in Alan's shadow, and it would just be nice if he didn't have to worry about doing that. And that's one of the reasons why he did what he did in the first place. Because Spencer was definitely hitting some psychological points with Peter.
Yeah, he was.
That is true, and I also want to know why Julia was so important. I mean, I know that she was immortal now, but so is Taki, so was Sarah, and I know they didn't know about Sarah, but it seems like they were more interested in Julia anyway, even if they knew that there was something about Julia that they wanted.
Because she was, because she's a Taki and her mom's daughter. Like, they must have known that based on the blood alone that maybe they could use her for something. They
Yeah,
seem to have a knack for trying to use people, especially if they're immortal. So
something was special about it because they kept the mom alive too for whatever reason. That container,
which
like, why was that necessary? I don't.
yeah, that was even more of a shocker, and I thought it was just so sucky and crappy that she gets to like reunite with her mom and then she gets killed like by the end of the episode. It's like she had hardly no time whatsoever to try and get, to know her mom again and for her mom to know her. She only got the bare minimum. And it's like, really? But I guess it had to happen because they had to move away from the base. And I guess whoever survived from that survived. But it was just messed up that she got murdered. I guess it wouldn't have been as bad if it was from the explosion, but it wasn't even from the explosion. She was alive, and then Spencer killed her.
Yeah, it was, and I had a feeling that was going to happen when they unlocked her and she was old. If she was
True.
immortal, then I would have been like, she's probably going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
But they never explained why they felt the need to have her in a container like that. That's like a container for somebody who is like dangerous.
I wonder if they did it to control Hitaki.
Yeah, I think that Hitaki mentioned that they did it to control him, and that's why he actually worked on the project in the first place.
Yeah, but like, I mean, you can put somebody in a room like a jail or something, but that was like that was like this little box and stuff that it's like you're scared of what they may do. I don't know.
They're not human, so who knows what their mind thinks? Like, I think about it. He had that albino-looking man down in the deep dungeon's basement where there's no light, no light.
That was a Taki, though, in his
And
vengefulness.
he's not human. So, yeah. And they did that to his wife. So, they're all
Is he not human?
They're not human. Until I hear something different, they're not human. They're mutants. There's something. I don't know.
So the question is, was Hitaki immortal from the beginning, or was he made immortal?
He said that, because didn't they say he was born in like 15-something? I was like, there's no way that virus, whatever they did, was around in the 1500s. Like, you don't even have, that doesn't make any sense.
No, I think it was more recent because Julia is the age that she is, and Julia's mom was the age that she was when they got together and had this baby. So, I mean, it must have been really recent as far as within, like, the last 20, 30 years,
But
not like 100.
Yeah, but didn't they say he was like born in the 1500s or something? I thought
He was like 500 years old.
Yeah.
So that's why I said they're not human. They came here on our planet.
It's got to be something, because there's no way that they developed anything like that back in 1500s.
I'm not talking about the virus. I'm talking about how they're able to make them immortal. I don't know how they're able to make people immortal. There may be another method, a la vampirism. I don't know, but it just seems a little weird that he's 500 years old. He could have been a lot older than that if he was born, or maybe he was. Yeah, I don't know.
Vampires. This could be a twist on vampirism, because, like in that movie Ultraviolet, I didn't realize they were vampires to the end of the movie. Because it's just about, I know that's sad, but I was like, oh, they're vampires. That's why they can't take light, and they're this and that. But they weren't, So I didn't even click. So the Helix could be doing that, because think about it, they don't bite, but it's a black liquid thing that they pass each other, and I don't know. It could be a twist on vampirism.
No, I think that's mostly the virus that was created more than the actual immortality, because Hitaki gave Julia his blood, I think, in order to make her immortal.
I thought she was already born immortal.
No, I think whatever he gave her made her like that, because her eyes.
Yeah, because she wasn't born that way. Because she was probably had more of the human side of her versus the immortal side. Because I don't know, with a human and immortal get together, what it creates, other than Julia, who wasn't immortal when we met her.
All these questions.
All these questions. Maybe they'll explain that in season 2. Who knows?
And my question, does she still want to be found? Because she looked like she was happy in charge.
I hope
I don't know.
so.
I think I'm hoping that it's not the case. I just think that she's in a position where she could leave or, do some serious damage within by her moving up the ladder like that. So hopefully that's the case. And she's really not like used to it.
And then you have to question, how long has she been in charge? How long has she might been able to leave and go? And this is day 235. So, like, if you've been in charge for 100 years, you could have been got in touch with Alan.
100 days. Yeah,
I mean, 100 days, I'm sorry, yeah. You could have been got in touch with Alan. He could have already known and talked to you and let you know, I'm okay, let me stay in here and work it from the inside.
Yeah.
I think also I guess she was trying to make herself hidden enough so it wasn't obvious she was trying to contact Alan. I mean, Alan apparently tried to get the military, FBI, what have you, involved, and they're like, no, we don't believe you. And instead, Ilaria is coming out smelling like roses, and they're not.
It just depends. I mean, we don't have any idea of how they're monitoring her or how they were monitoring her in the beginning.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
There's a lot of open questions because you would think she would contact Alan, but she might not be able to, not safely anyway, and she might not even know that he's off that Arctic because the communication systems were down, right? Like, so I don't know how they would contact people wherever that location is, and it blew up.
Yeah, you could be right, and he also told Peter, you don't want to know how I found her.
Yeah, because he was beaten up on this one immortal at the beginning of the episode. So he must have either killed him afterwards or he just really tortured him to get what he needed. So, I mean, they must be working through some kind of network, underground, so to speak, and maybe Julia has been able to leave him clues enough to be able to know what location she's at. Because I'm assuming that Ilaria has several corporations across the globe, so it's just a matter of finding the right one.
Yeah.
And how the heck they got out of the Arctic, for crying out loud.
Yeah, how did they end up in France? That's weird.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wasn't there one helicopter to pick all those people up, though, to take them out?
Yeah, we were talking about Alan and Peter.
Oh.
You saw them walking on the streets, like.
I know, but I'm just wondering, like in flashbacks, they might, and did the village get destroyed to where they could not make? I'm just trying to brainstorm ways that they could have got out of the Arctic, like.
Well, some of the people I think some of the people from the village came to help them get out, but then it exploded. So no telling how many people were in the building physically when it exploded, and how far they were away from the exit when it exploded. So who knows?
Yeah, because Sarah's baby would have been born by now, and.
Like, is he a dad? That's what I'm like. Is he a dad? I just was like, because
he didn't act like he was a dad.
No, he did not. And I'm telling you, Natasha and Kim, I was sitting there like, oh, so you found out you're pregnant, then you're dead. Okay, that's how they do in this show. All right.
No, okay. When he says he didn't act like a dad, I mean, we saw him in certain circumstances where he was trying to get information. That doesn't mean that he's not a dad. Like,
true, but still.
No, you know what? When he talked to Peter about if I don't make it, go back to or try and find her again, he could have mentioned, and say something to Sarah and the baby.
Or say something to Johnny, or say something to Sally.
Maybe he doesn't trust Peter, though. I wouldn't trust Peter.
True. Yeah, and if he did find out, probably he wouldn't have trusted Peter. But at the same time, he could have at least mentioned it. We could have at least known for sure if Sarah, maybe they'll wait till next season to know for sure if Sarah, A, survived, and B, managed to have the baby. And I think having an immortal baby brings another element to the show as well. So maybe she has a purpose now. At first she didn't.
Well, I mean, and that's another reason why he wouldn't say anything, because they're not supposed to know Sarah's immortal, right? She had contacts, and they didn't want anybody to know that, and the fact that she's pregnant.
That must have flew over my head when I watched the show, that Sarah's immortal.
She saved, remember, she got saved? She was in, like, a She passed out because she had those tumors, and
Yeah,
Julia
they
saved
gave
her.
her the cure, the medicine, or her blood, or whatever, to make her better.
Yeah, and then her eyes went silver.
Okay, I must have blinked.
It was actually they did not show it for that long because she put contacts in because they didn't want everybody to know. She wasn't walking around with silver eyes for a long time or anything.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah. So, Julia saved her, gave maybe that's the way to do it. Transfusion means you're immortal.
It was a spinal tap, I believe, spinal fluid.
Yeah, spinal tap, spinal fluid. However, they transfuse whatever fluids to get into another person that makes you immortal. I think
Oh,
that's
now
the way
it's
that they're
starting to
doing
come.
it.
It's starting to come back to me now. I think. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah. Because I was just like remembering her and the other doctor, and she was like, "I don't need no test," and
How do you do a test? Yeah. So I don't know what you guys. What was your favorite or this entire season? Like I don't know. What was your favorite kind of I don't know character or little situation or whatnot? Mine would definitely be Sarah. I'm just kidding. Um, I'm I'm really just kidding. I believe it or not. I hate Spencer and I love him at the same time because I wouldn't have expected this assassin to be a child. And so that curveball I really, really liked, even though I can't stand him, which is a credit to the actor who's doing a good job. I don't know, Natasha, what do you think?
Well, pretty much the people that died were my favorite characters. Daniel, aka Mixa, and Dr. Boyle. Can we have a moment of silence?
Okay.
Yeah. So, I did like a Nana just because she wasn't taking Belisario's crap, and so I think that's one reason why he liked her. And just the whole storyline between Hataki being Julia's dad, not really telling that she's, just him keeping all these secrets up until the very end. Like, oh yeah, sorry about that. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Oh yeah, sorry about
The man was sorry.
that. Yeah, he was sorry like almost every episode this season.
That's an Akon song.
and still
Sorry.
kept lying. I'm sorry. Tell another lie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, sorry.
I don't know, Michelle, what was your, like, I don't know, favorite character, favorite part, favorite kind of situation?
My favorite character. I can't even remember her name. She was my favorite character.
Constance?
Constant.
Nanan? Oh, yeah.
7 of 9. She called her 7 of 9.
So yeah, you take the time to remember her name.
Sutton.
I also liked Alan, and I liked Julia. I liked the storyline that I knew that was her dad from like day one.
What?
Yeah.
It
As
was
it was,
kind of creepy. That remember when we first did this
Yeah.
TVTalk, which is me and you. I was like, oh, it's creepy. He liking her, but then I was like, later on that night, I was like, that's probably something else. That can't be.
She's a foot taller than he is.
Yeah, so I was like, that's probably daddy or something. And so I just had a feeling that there was something going on with her. I like the vectors, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's weird because I don't like zombies,
hmm
but
yeah,
I
I'm
like
not into zombies either.
I like them because I like how, like you said, they got smarter. See, zombies don't get smart. They just want to eat. But they were getting smarter, and I like that in the end. Really what I have is questions.
We all
Like Lost, this left me with questions. Like with Peter, he's working with Laria, so didn't he know where Julia was the whole time?
I feel like they abandoned him.
Of
I
course
feel
they
like
did.
abandoned that whole thing. So
He did.
Or
He
was
is
he
only
too
working
diligent,
with Spencer,
oh well.
or was he only working with Spencer?
I think he was working with Ilaria, but when Spencer blew it up, and it was like, that's it. We're just wiping our hands of this situation. We have what we want now.
Yeah, because they wanted Julia, I think, and a Hitaki, and pretty much the family, and screw everyone else. Like, everyone else can die.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, that's I'm interested to see what happens in season 2. I want to know. I personally want to know about your favorite person, Sarah, and whether she had the baby or not. Um,
I would,
and
no offense, Natasha, I would rather her be alive and have the baby and then maybe leave the show and the baby is with someone else. Because I just think that's cruel. Oh, I'm pregnant, now you're dead. I'm sorry. That's cruel to me. That's just cruel.
No, I'm saying like if she wasn't pregnant and she died, I would have been happy. If she if she's if she's pregnant, then of course I don't want the baby to die. So if she's alive, she's alive long enough to have the baby, and the baby is the central focus, and Sarah kind of like whittles away, then I'm fine.
okay, I get what you're saying. Is in the beginning, really, Sarah didn't have. You saw plot points for certain characters, and you didn't
Yeah.
really see that for Sarah, and I can see where
No.
you're coming from in that. But I think I think that they're starting to develop that for her. I think that's
Yeah,
what's coming
unfortunately.
now, and so it's so. I think her character is going to be a lot more interesting. So let's just
Well,
wait for
maybe
that.
I'll change my mind next season. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for right now, I'm not feeling it.
Probably went to them, the actress went to them, look, there's no point of, why am I here to sleep with him? Because he wants his wife, y'all need to do something. They was like, oh, okay, you're pregnant.
It's not like, yeah, and immortal. It's not like they really had time to put on protection when they were having sex. I mean, for real. I mean, it's not like, I don't know if they even had like random condoms lying around on the base. Like, how does
think about? Like,
and
why do you think about that?
Well, I mean, when you go on a trip trying to find a cure for a disease, will you even have remote time to even think about having sex?
No, but I'm like,
Condoms, because she been wanting him from day one.
yeah,
She should have always had condoms, if anything, but, you know.
No, maybe now she has them for the rest of her life, which is forever, and the rest of his life. Watch him be like she's gonna.
I want Alan to be immortal.
I'm sure she does too. I mean, I'm sure she does too.
Yeah, it's like the baby and the child, and the mama is like alive, and he's like dead because he stays mortal. That would
Might
kind of
not
suck.
even tell him right away either, because she probably don't think even with that he's gonna pick her over Julia.
No.
So he might not even know right away.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't know. Well, we don't know that he knows. She's the only one who knows.
Yeah.
She's the type of person that would keep it to herself too.
Yeah, she would keep it on. She would go away and go to like some kind of safe place, have the baby, and then try and hook up with him later and act like everything's fine, and the poor baby's like left alone. She didn't
No, I don't. I think she would keep it to herself until she started showing, until she tried to figure out how to tell him that, because she just seems like she's kind of cautious and like, I don't know. She just, the way that she approaches him is just like, she's kind of like, So I think she would try to hide it until she can't hide it anymore. Because where is she gonna go? Like, really, where are they gonna go? There's no way.
Yeah, and I really wanted to see what would happen if Belisarius is alive and Ananon and Tulak, if they go and search for the kids that Hitaki had experimented on. Like, what happened to those kids? I want to know.
I do too.
I want a side story with that.
Yeah, and maybe that was Belisarius' real reason to go there, is to find out what happened to the kids. And so the government put him, like, was Ilaria taking kids? Was he doing that for Ilaria?
Yeah, I think he mentioned that he helped deal with that. I think he does work for Ilaria, or he did work for Ilaria, but he wasn't working for them at the time that he met with Alan and Hitaki, because all he cared about was for Ananon, the list of the kids. Like, I think he wanted to do that for her and then bounce. So that's my thought on it. I don't know.
Yeah. Sounds like a good thought to me. I mean, he does seem like he's kind of a different person, and he really cares about her. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens with those, all of them as well.
Yeah, because I need to see more Megan Feldbrother. I'm sorry. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He'll probably.
Yeah, I know. I I sent him a tweet when that happened, and I'm like, you did not prepare me for that. I was sitting there in shock. Like I'm like, how could that just happen? Like how could that just happen? It was so I don't know. I was distraught. So I just I hope they
Yeah,
find a way to.
I was hoping he wouldn't go there. I'm like, please, just wait, just wait. Why didn't you wait, man?
Yeah, it was not cool. I mean, I hope they find a way to keep that story going on so he's still in the show a lot. So.
Yes, it's at least that's the twin brother. I'm like, at least we get him some kind of way. I mean, really.
All right. Well, I guess we should wrap up then. That was our
Hmm.
wrap up of Helix. We are looking forward to season 2. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to come back. Probably what fall?
It's yeah, like they're not even waiting till like winter of 2015. Not, I'm sorry, not winter. Like yeah, winter of 2015. They're kind of like waiting till fall of 2015. I'm like that's kind of a little late because you premiered earlier this year, and now we're gotta wait like over a year and a half. Like
So
what?
it's 2015. It's not fall 2014.
No, it's like fall 2015.
Oh, that's
Really? Yeah,
disappointing.
that's
Oh,
a long time.
that is over a year. It's
Yeah,
over.
that's over a year.
Well, I have a show that's not coming back to 2016, so.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's the thing. Like if
Is
they
that
make
Sherlock?
yeah.
Oh,
How'd
yeah.
you know?
If,
How did you know?
because they're the only ones that can get away with that. But if they can make it really really good, then I can accept that.
And
But
plus, yeah, plus there's other shows that we'll be watching anyway, so.
all right, that's our Helix wrap up, guys. We are going to be doing another TV talk with Grim here coming soon, in the next day or so. So we will see you then.
And the following.
Yes, and the following. And so, Michelle, thank
And
you for joining us for
you're
Helix.
welcome.
Hi, bye.
Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter.
At Comic Geek Girly.
It's written right there. Natasha?
At WillCat12 and as at the Nerd Element.
Yes, and I'm at Anime23, also at the Nerd Element, but Natasha is our Twitter guru at the Nerd Element. So 95% of the time, she's the one that you're seeing. I'm trying to get better.
All
All right, guys, we'll see you soon. Bye.
right, bye.